Hey everybody, I am sitting here thinking as I am putting up this topic about how do we shift our money mindset from our heads to our heart, and what continuously keeps coming to me. See, I'm a thinker, right? It's naturally how I'm wired. You know, years ago, what happened to me, this is back in 2005 when my father had two major strokes. Hey, April, thanks for joining. What I realized in that time period, it was the first time that I had ever been introduced to the fact that we as human beings are energy, okay? And that everything around us is energy. And so what we need to realize is that, so what I realized in 2005 when my dad had two major strokes, I was like, oh my God, if I don't shift something in my life, like I was pulling all this energy up to my brain. I was very smart, I'm very smart, went to the best universities across the country. I have lots of alphabet soup letters after my name. And I watched my dad have these two major strokes and I was like, oh my God, my brain is going to pop like popcorn, just like his. And I kept saying to myself, that's not a good thing. I don't necessarily want to have strokes. And so that's when I first got introduced to energy. And then I was applying it to, you know, I've been doing a financial planning business for 25 years now. Thank God I'm not that old. Not too much gray hair. And no, I don't color my hair. Thank you very much. But so I was starting to realize that I was getting these migraine headaches, and it was to the point that the doctors were wanting to give me shots for the headaches. And I started thinking to myself going, you know what? I really actually am not going to, I'm doing something. I personally was doing something that was actually creating these headaches. And so I started looking, you know, so many of us, I don't care what your drug is, if you will, whether it's alcohol, eating, distracting yourself, maybe you're addicted to sex or whatever. I don't care what your thing is. There's so many of us that try to do a patch job, and the time that we're living in right now, those patch jobs aren't working. You know, even though everybody's like bought a bunch of liquor and the stores are like shy on liquor, you can tell how people are acting out their stuff right now. But my point is that back in 2005, I started to realize going, I'm gonna have to get shots and stuff like that for my migraines. And I'm going, no. It's what I learned. I met this wonderful woman. Her name was 𝘰𝐿𝐵, and she is a Reiki energy healer and also merges that with hypnotherapy. And she taught me how, because we are energy, that we pull everything up to our brains, we evaluate it out, we analyze it, and the thing was I was thinking so much and I was doing so much and I was creating my business, and I had just gotten married and I got my MBA and all these things in my head, and I'm going, well, what does that have to do? How does that apply to money? And I watched my dad have these strokes, and I was actually on a business call yesterday that I'm sitting here going, man, it all goes full circle, right? It all just goes full circle. And what do I mean by it all going full circle? Is the fact that what we are being called to today, hands down, we are being called today to not operate from here, but to operate from here. And the thing is, how do you do it? And I was on a call yesterday, and this is a lesson I learned back in 2005 when my dad actually had his two strokes, because I had to learn to stop only operating from my mind and operate from my heart. And anyone who's close to me would probably argue that I still get in my head. And don't laugh too hard, because I know who you guys are, because you remind me of it on a regular basis. Despite the fact that I live a big part of my heart. So what's happening here financially right now is the fact that I laughed when I was on this conference call yesterday with all these analytical people and talking about the economy and what's going to happen. We have now over 25 million people who are actually not employed today, and those numbers are going to get higher. And they were talking about all the analytics and all the tests that are going to come, and that maybe we're going to have tests for the virus at Starbucks and CVS and Walgreens and all these places. And I sat here and today it dawned on me, I have spent the last 48 hours really struggling again because I believe we've had this energetic expansion to get out of our heads and into our hearts. And so how does this apply to our money? Well, I watch the financial services world right now is trying to analytically put their arms around this virus, even to the point that how many tests in that New York and New Jersey, they have decreased in cases and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm sitting here going, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, we have got to get out of doing this from analytics. And this is why I have this whiteboard here, because I want to actually map out for you how do we approach this and get out of our analytics, right? And so this is what I talk about in my book, is I talk about the fact that our heart is actually our center. And this is our soul's purpose. And I don't care if you call it your soul's purpose, your heart's desire, you can call it whatever it is that you want. But what's important here is that we push every decision out from this vantage point. But what we've done as a society is we've brought it up to our brains, we've evaluated it out, and then we've actually done the opposite of this. And so your financial life should come from your heart's desire, and that actually will bring you more money. So same thing with your family life. Same thing with your work life. Same thing with you on a personal front. Okay, I talk about this in both of my books, that you have to build your wealth from the inside out. Now, a lot of us today are probably sitting here going, yeah, well, Jewel, I'm a little bit too late because we are now already having challenges and we're already in the place that we're at. Well, I don't care what reality it is that you've created. The key here is you've got to stop. You know, fear is up here in our mind and it's our analytics, and our hearts are all about the fact that we need to start to shift to a place of being expansive and what our heart's desires are, because that's where you're going to grow from. That's where you're going to be more grounded from. And we are not going to get that from our heads. And we have to start to redesign not only our financial lives, but all of our lives from this perspective. And until we do, we are going to continue to keep creating these suffering cycles. And there is in my book, Awaken Your Wealth, I talk about a process of how you can actually go through this. Like, how do you build your life from the inside out? And I call it the PACT process. And it's all about walking you through that. And I'm going to be coming out with a mini course too, because I know many of you need this support, and we are going to be creating this mini course so that it can blossom and bloom and help each of you, that regardless of the reality that you're sitting in today, I know for a fact that you can get out of this. And I know for a fact that whatever you're being called to do and whatever is falling apart for you today, it is supposed to fall apart for you. No different than when I was faced with my dad's strokes and I was getting these migraines, that my business was starting to fall apart because I was trying to do my business like every other male does in the financial world. And I was trying to build it from the outside in, and I was not doing it from the inside out. And it is super, super, super important that we start to really decide that I have this blank canvas. We're stuck in our houses, for Christ's sake. You know, get a whiteboard or start to create a vision board of how to build this from the inside out, because we need to stop trying to analyze what are the smart moves, what are this, what are that. And I'm not saying don't be silly with this whole virus thing going on. I'm just saying you have to start with your heart and then add your smarts. One of my mentors, 𝘰𝐺 Morgan, she taught me that years ago. I met her right after my dad's strokes, and that has stuck with me all these years, 15 years later. And so when you find yourself starting to go to your head, I need you to say, you know what? I need to make this decision from my heart. You know what? I need to approach my finances from my heart. Like, does your heart really want all these things that you're spending your money on and that you're distracting yourself from the life that it is that you want to live? Now is a great time to start to go through that. You know, love yourself enough to align whatever the cash inflow is right now. I strongly urge you to align your cash outflows to be that. And I know for some of you that could be really squeezing you right now because there's lots of changes that have happened with so many of us, but it's okay. This is about self-love and self-care, and it's okay to choose you. So come to 𝑗ulieMurphy.com. I have got lots of resources to help you on your journey. And we've got our Monday nights on my YouTube channel at Julie Murphy on YouTube. And I am talking about your health and your wealth with my buddy Nam. And it's super important for us to really start to get together, and we're going to be doing this whole awakening series. I've got your Awaken Your Wealth going on right now, and I've got Awaken Your Health. We're going to have Awaken Your Relationships, Awaken Your Work Life, and Awaken Your Spirit, because these are the aspects that I am talking about here, that we want to awaken your spirit here in the center. We want to awaken that part of your life. We want to awaken your wealth and your finances. We want to awaken your relationships and your family. And also your personal life, as well as we want to, if you are not in a job that is feeding your soul, and if your job actually fell away, congratulations, because you are being given such a great gift that maybe you just couldn't pull the plug and move that job before all this stuff happened, and it moved for you. Look at it as a gift. Look at it as an opportunity, because it happened for a reason. All right, you guys. Well, I hope this was super helpful today, and I want to continue to be a resource of happiness and good health and wealth from this day moving forward. Take care, guys and gals. Bye.